Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're doing March 2021, the astrology for the world, collectively and personally for each of the 12 signs. I usually do 12 separate videos for the 12 signs, but this February I could not do them because Saturn disappeared, and Saturn is my ruling planet. And I even warned you, I'm probably not going to disappear for a month or something. And it's just appearing today. And when it was disappeared, I developed a bad abscess. I'm still swollen a little bit. For 2 weeks, I could not talk because when the planet that rules you disappears, the immune system goes down and you need to rest more. And such unpleasant situations can happen. But Saturn is just appearing today on the 26th of February. By the way, the whole of February, Mercury, almost the whole of it, Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter were invisible. So 50% of the population, they rule 6 signs out of 12. So 50% of the population, if your ascendant was Gemini, Virgo, Aquarius, Capricorn, or Sagittarius, and Pisces, probably had things not so easy for them when the planet that rules them was invisible. And probably maybe they were feeling low energy. It was hard to start new things. There were certain unexpected developments. But the good news about March 2021 is that all the planets will be visible except Venus. So Taurians and Libras might feel a little bit under the weather overall till April when their planet appears, Venus. They might need to take more rest a little bit. They might need to, and this is if your ascendant is Libra or Taurus, also the sun and the moon, but to a lesser degree. And why is March so important? Because March is the actual beginning of the new year. Because March is how the ancients and current astrologers calculate the energies of the whole next 12 months. As of this moment, when I'm making this video, it's still the end of February. We're still under the influence of the last March influences, because the day that the whole year is decided on Earth, it's like a birthday for the Earth, is the 20th of March. This is the day when the sun goes into Aries, the new beginning, new life, new lease of life. And the sun goes into Aries on March the 20th. And let's look quickly what happened last year, because we're still under the influences collectively as a whole from the time that the sun entered Aries last year. I'm just going to share my screen very quickly with you so you can see the charts that I'm using. There you go. This is last year, March 20th, 2020. We're still under this influence, and you see that exactly that year, maybe a few days before the exact ingress, we all went into lockdown because the whole year was under the influence from March 20th, 2020 to March 20th, 2021, under this really, really hard conjunction of Saturn, Pluto, Mars, and Jupiter in Capricorn. And they were in the 12th house from the green meridian, from the GMT time, which is kind of the time for the whole of the world, the Greenwich meridian. So 12th house was about isolation, was about kind of loneliness, was about lockdowns. And the energy of Capricorn was so prevalent. It still is over those 12 months from last March. And what is Capricorn? Capricorn is minimalism. Capricorn is restriction. Capricorn is strict rules and orders, draconian measures, regulations, rules. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, which means powerful new beginnings. We were under the influence, but in a very restrictive way. Capricorn in the 12th house, limitations, 12th houses, disconnection, dissociation, isolation of any sorts, losses, kind of almost like it was a year we had to withdraw a little bit, develop inner self-discipline, and externally we were also, as you know, very restricted. But let's see the energy of the next 12 months. Happy birthday, the happy birthday of the Earth itself. And this is for March 20th, 21, when the sun just enters exactly the sign of Aries. It starts moving, it crosses the border, starts moving north of the ecliptic. So look at that. It's so much easier. That's why I wanted to give you good news, because it's there's no Capricorn there almost. And there is so much lighter energy. There is a lot of air. Jupiter and Saturn are in air. Mars, the moon, and the North Node are in air. Air is a very movable sign. Air is about the ability to breathe, about the ability to communicate. Air is the sign of socializing as well. And look, there is a lot of mutable signs. Mercury, Neptune, Venus is in Pisces, Moon, Mars, the North Node. What are mutable signs? They're about movement. So after March onwards, for the next 20 months, 12 months, we're going to have a lot more movability, a lot more flexibility. Mutable signs are very flexible. Mutable signs are the signs of traveling as well. So I see that actually it will be easier to travel. Of course, the South Node continues for the next 12 months, as per this chart, to be in Sagittarius, which is traveling far away. And taking planes and things like that. It will still be a bit weaker than international travel, international holidaying, but this Gemini is extremely powerful for the next 12 months. And Gemini rules local travel, or travel that is under a month, So people will become very restless with all this mutable energy. They would really like to travel more. They would start going at least, maybe 1,000 kilometers away or miles from where they are, in that vicinity. It's kind of closer, because of Gemini, it's your closer environment. But, with campers, with trekking, people will start going out and traveling a lot more. There is no stopping it. The moon represents the people. It's in Gemini. People will be restless. People would like to explore. Gemini is very experimental, exploring, communicative signs. People would like to communicate a lot more. They'll connect a lot more, which is great. They'll have more freedom of movement. And you see the moon has a lot of good aspects, trying to Saturn, trying to Jupiter. The people, their mental state is the moon. It's going to be way more positive. The moon trine Jupiter. They'll also have moon trine Saturn, very practical as well, but it's not in a negative way. It's not negative aspects. And the moon, though, is with Mars, so people will be angry. It's that thing there. And where are you going to see this anger in people? On the social media, because it's in Gemini. Gemini, social media, communications, devices. So you'll see a lot of very strong opinions for the next 12 months between people. A lot of very kind of fighting over their opinions, fighting over their beliefs as well. And because the North Node is there, it even enhances that. North Node is magnifying influence. It blows things up. So you can expect things to, especially on that more communicative level, that people will be very outspoken. They'll be saying things straight. They'll be pushed to even kind of fight a little bit more. But people will be in a feisty mood, especially through news, through information, through communications. But they'll be definitely enhanced, increased traveling, movement around, because this is good news for all of us. You see. And the mutable energies, Pisces and Gemini, they're very much about, it's not so much about totally new energy. Conjunctions and cardinal signs are about totally new energy, but mutable signs are about improving what is already existing. So the next 12 months, learning a bit more. Mutable signs are about learning, about acquiring knowledge, researching as well. Mutable signs are about perfecting and improving something already that exists. So this is the general energies overall. And you see, because this year, on the birthday of the Earth, the North Node is in Gemini. Last year, on the birthday of the Earth, the North Node was in Cancer. So it enhanced Cancer topics for the next 12 months, which was family, being more in the parochial, in the local area cancer. The prices of the properties have been rising, except in the very big cities, but in everywhere else, they've been rising a lot of property for the last 12 months. But now, on this birthday of the Earth, the North Node is in Gemini, so the next 12 months, you'll see the rise of new communication platforms, the rise of new social platforms as well, and the rise of new transportation systems and innovations of such that people can use, and the rise of new ways of studying. It's already has started through Zoom and everything. And also, I expect that people that are involved in education of any sort, which is very Geminian, teaching skills and uh, communication, information, writing, speaking, they'll have a quite successful year generally, because the energies of the whole year benefit this with this powerful Gemini. And by the way, the moon and Saturn together create a wealth yoga in ancient astrology, which means that you can make money this year through all Gemini things, teaching skills, using your own skills that you have acquired, whether it's online or whether it's you're making pottery, or whether you're making like craftsmen and traders of any sorts, people that are using their intelligence or their hand skills, um, whatever they are, they can make money through that because of this combination. And Rahu there really enhances it. And it's in the second house, if you use whole sign house system, of money. So these people will be quite well financially, that they're using their own skills and intelligence, or that want to develop skills and intelligence. And look, all those planets make a trine to Jupiter in the 10th house. 10th house is your career. So, people in media, in marketing, people in communications of any sorts, or short travels industries, I believe they will pick up as well. And because Jupiter is on the 10th house cusp, and that's again green meridian, that's for England, but I take it for the whole of the Earth, because it has been decided collectively that this is the start of the time zone. So it's looked at there. It has to be looked this chart from every country. But generally for the world, I see that career-wise, things will become better collectively for people. As opportunity, as new careers. And it's also the 10th house is the government, with Saturn and Jupiter there. They'll have a lot of power still. It is what it is, but there is a very full 11th house if we're using whole sign house system here, Mercury, Venus. So this is communicative house. This is house of socializing, getting together. And there'll be more fluidity, flexibility there. And the thing is that the connections this year, there'll be way more personal and emotional because of the Pisces energy there in that 11th house. But you see, I really much more like this chart than the chart of last year. All this 12th house, all this heavy Capricorn energy. Oof, my God. But look now, it's flowing. It's easier. It's lighter. There is almost no earth, but it's a lot of water, a lot of air, and the sun is with Venus again. The sun is the collectively, the spirit of humans, and with Venus, they're much better mood overall. What do we have challenging? Well, Saturn is square Uranus in that chart. It's going to be felt very strongly in the next 12 months in signs that are connected to finances, in signs that are connected to resources, to the economy. They can be, there's been already a crash, but I'm talking something more serious. They can be tensions with supply chains. They can be difficulties with the stock market and system. Just this is where collectively there can be sudden changes, sudden reversals, unexpected developments. And the stability there, which is Saturn, of the economy system is challenged, maybe change of the monetary system and so on. But let's not dwell too long on that. Let's look quickly at the astrology of March 2021. Again, this is my calendar for 2021. It's 50% off now. It's only $20. We've sold thousands of those. And if you'd like to order it, it's 130 pages. It's interactive. You can click here, for example, what does it mean when Mars goes in Gemini, and you read what it means and how long. The flow information speed up. Everyday life picks up in pace. You see, you notice that how will become busier, more interactive. Fast developments in commercial, administrative, and business matters, hectic activities, administrative and mental tasks, more nervous energy as well. Okay, so you see, you can, but look, I just wanted to show you how much easier the energy of March is, and the whole year basically, but March compared to February, we had so many challenging aspects. And now let me go back. Now in March, it's just lovely aspects. Venus sextile Uranus, Mercury conjunct Jupiter, Sun conjunct Neptune, gentle, Venus conjunct Neptune, Sun sextile Pluto, Venus sextile Pluto, Mercury, Uranus, sextile Uranus. I don't see squares, I don't see oppositions. There is just one challenging aspect in the whole of the month, and that's Mercury square Mars. So around the 23rd, 24th, 25th, be careful with traveling. It might be more stressful. Driving, be careful with communications. You might feel more challenged to fight with others, with people in your daily environment. There might be the need to hurry up with some, that you can be under some pressure about deadlines. So you have to hurry up, and fights that can happen, business meetings and administrative tasks and kind of social activities. Be more careful around the 24th here, maybe 23rd, 24th, 25th, but it's surrounded by beautiful transits all days. After that, Sun conjunct Venus, beautiful. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of those transits, there's no point, but I just don't see anything stressful. You're going to feel the pressure off so much. You're going to feel so much better, and especially after March 20th, when the energies of the new year, I would say even a week before that, you're going to feel it. The flow of the new energy. And you see, like, the lockdowns will start falling down everywhere in the world. They'll start, the ability of people to move will start improving, to get together, to connect. Of course, Mars, Moon conjunction with the North Node, people will be angry. They would express their anger. They'll be willing to take more kind of physical actions even. They'll be willing to take more actions, like, I don't know, whether it's protesting or voicing their needs more because of this Moon Mars, and rather than be more passive, so. And another thing that's happening, Mercury is visible till the 11th. It's very good for any mercurial activities till the 11th, launching, information, websites, business transactions. After that, it becomes invisible as well, for a little bit till April 26th. And around that time, yes, April 27th, sorry. But overall, the other planets, and all the planets, I forgot to tell you, all the planets are moving direct. This is very rare. And they're moving direct in March, in April. Everything is, so things pick up. When planets move direct, new developments happen. Things pick up. You enter new territory, things that you have not experienced before, new opportunities, and they move fast. And usually things move according to expectations. When planets go retrograde, which is not going to happen till May sometime, then things go not according to expectations. You have to be prepared to redo something over and over. Things slow down, but now we're full speed into the new reality. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of this ability to move forward, to and when the planets go retrograde, whatever new experiences came into our life and developments, now in March and in April, we can, when they go retrograde, we can think about them more, integrate them, fix them a little bit, make them better. But now it's like grab from life with full hands, move ahead, don't look back, initiate things. And actually this part of the year, when the sun crosses the ecliptic and starts moving north, this is the spring equinox on the 20th of March, but even 2-3 weeks before that, it can be felt. This is fantastic time for initiating new beginnings. Everything awakens. And that's according to the North Hemisphere. But the North Hemisphere is like the upper body of the Earth. The Earth is like a like a human. It has a head and a lower body. So that's why we orient it to the North Pole, to where the North magnetic pole is. So that's why even if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, still fantastic time to initiate new beginnings in March. You can wait till the 20th when the sun enters Aries to have more, drive, but you can even a week or two before that, you just feel this call to start new beginnings and initiate new beginnings. So yeah, I'm glad to bring you this positive news collectively. um, of course, don't forget the Saturn square Uranus. I talked about that. I have videos about that as well. On Facebook, I write posts about that. It's this is the whole year is under this stressful aspect till next March, actually, where the financial situation can suddenly take a reverse, and that's where we have to be most careful, because every time Saturn and Uranus square, there has been some financial change of the stable structures, and especially this year it will be so because the signs involve the financial. Now let's look at each of the 12 signs. How is it going to be? Let me start. Maybe if someone can help me with timestamps, I'll be so grateful, because I really don't have much time with little kids and a lot of work. But I'll try to make it a little bit easier. But when speaking about science, I would put behind me the sign, the sign. Well, I'm in front of it. So there we go. Aries, March. What can you expect? Where is it? Till around the 20th of March, you might feel a little bit less energy because all of those planets in your 12th house. So you might need to rest a little bit, especially if you're Aries Sun or Aries rising. Usually it's known that the month before your birthday, or about 20, 30 days before your birthday, you enter into a bit of a slump, a bit of a hold, because the life force withdraws then to prepare you for the new cycle when the sun when you have your birthday, or when the sun enters your ascendant sign. So it's okay if you don't feel so motivated. Usually, if you have already inclinations towards addictions or escaping reality, this can increase. The first 20 days of March, you might feel like, I'm not usually so tired. I'm not usually so, because Aries is such a motivated sign. But when there's so much energy, the first 20 days of March in your 12th house of rest, of retreating from the responsibility of the world. Oh, it's good maybe if you spend more time in nature, if you can sleep a bit more, if you can research and contemplate and prepare for the new beginnings. And when the sun enters Aries, you'd feel so empowered, so alive. I mean, the flow of the universal energy will go through your veins, and you'll become a force of power again. So don't beat yourself the first few days of March, 20 days, if you're not feeling fully, like your normal self. Use it to research, to study some spiritual activities as well. Use it to, and Venus is there in your 12th house. You can do some romantic activities when Venus in the 12th house. Well, you can daydream if you don't have a partner, or just do something. Venus is the things we love to do 12 houses in privacy. Maybe you might enjoy a lot of spiritual activities, or reading, or escaping reality through books, through something that you do in your own privacy, or even if you can go on a little holiday, 12 houses, to escape the normal humdrum of life. And little holidays, if you can travel or just get away, go to a spa or something like that, allow yourself to be pampered. And then after March 20th, the sun enters your sign and Venus enters your sign, and will be there a big part of April as well. So from March 20th, you have a lot of life force coming in, a lot of new ideas coming in, and you have a lot of um, new beginnings that you can start. But Venus also there, you do it you'll be likable. People will be more attracted to you, attract more Venusian things in your life. You can even become more attractive physically. You can improve your physical appearance when Venus is in your sign, whether it's your sun, moon, or ascendant. You can even become more love love experiences, enjoyable entertainment experiences can come into your life, and more money. Venus naturally rules luxuries, pleasures, and more resources can become available to you. So, from March 20th onwards, a big part of April as well. It's also very important to always look where Mars goes for your areas, because Mars is the planet that rules you. And the whole of March and part of April, Mars will be in your third house. What does it mean? Well, it makes you much more movable. You're going to be short trips. You can be taking more short trips here and there, whether for the weekend or whether for work. You'll be communicating with a lot more people. You'll become way more proactive when it comes to getting in touch with others, business transactions, communications. This can be a very important month when you're very busy doing something with your mind. For example, I'm Aries, and Mars goes into Gemini from the beginning of March, and I'm starting a very extensive course, which will be 12, 13 weeks and on aspects. So that will be a lot of mental work. So a lot of talking. It will be 4 or 5 hours every week. If you want to join me, there's still places. We're 200 people strong. You can send me emails. I can answer as well if you have questions. It's very interactive if you can take it live. If not, you can watch the recordings, but check it out. There is an installment plan, and I rarely teach courses once every 2-3 years. So if you want to learn astrology with me, that's an opportunity for you now. As an Aries, because you feel very driven to teach, to learn, with this Mars in the third house, to learn new skills, to initiate new projects connected to media, to marketing, to transactions, to sales. Your sales shark will come out if you're in any of those businesses where you can kind of like go and pitch something to others, where you have to communicate. You'll have a lot of force. Your daily environment might be get engaged with a lot of meetings, connecting with others, business interactions, short travels of any sorts, and all such things will be quite auspicious because Mars will be doing mostly good aspects there to Saturn, Jupiter. Okay. Sorry. And so there you go. You just be careful with this Mars there, not to break electronic devices, phones. Some not, because Mars making square to Neptune as well at some point. Maybe towards April as well, but not to lose devices, not to have them stolen or passwords broken or, passwords hacked of some sort. This is the things you have to be, or car, things happening. But otherwise, very mentally active. You might find your mind working overtime, but it's good for getting done a lot of planning, scheduling, organizing, a lot of business work done as well, and a lot of communications, connecting to others, building bridges with others. That the whole year, actually, for you Aries, you'll notice that there's a lot new contacts that come into your life because of your air houses being so strongly triggered. Then let's see, if you are Taurus, let's change it. Taurus, how is March for you? Well, the month starts quite, especially the first 20 days, you notice that there is a lot of social interactions increasing because your 11th house will be activated strongly with Venus, Mercury, the Sun, Neptune there. I think that you have an opportunity to connect to people, whether it's online or no, whether it's in real life, to participate in some social activities or social activism of some sort. And you might be very interested in the affairs of the world, which is the 11th house, what is happening with the world, the politics, the collective. You might read about that, or you might be just very keenly interested to involved with that. If you have any work that is connected to organizing big events, or it's connected to stock markets, that it's connected to the 11th house rules, all of those things, connecting people, distribution, it can be quite busy and going and developing quite well. The 11th house is also gains and earnings, so this can be a more gainful month for you as well, especially till the 20th. and focus on your goals and achieving those goals, and you'll have support of the stars to achieve those goals and to move forward ahead with such plans, social economic goals of any sorts, and then from the 20th, Venus and the Sun start entering in your 12th house, and you might feel a little bit less active. You might feel like you need to take more rest. You're around the 20th of April, before they enter, especially the sun, your sign. It's okay if you feel a little bit less motivated, from the end of March and most of April, because this is the period before your birthday when the life force kind of withdraws. So it's time to nurture your soul instead, rather than the external physical, to regroup and to kind of search alternatives, to prepare to contemplate a little bit what needs to stay in your life and what needs to be removed. And when the sun enters your sign in Taurus from April the 20th, you can start powerful new beginnings in a physical, material, visible way, but you'll then just more contemplation, more time alone from the end of March. The first 20 days of March are quite active socially. You can have a lot of productive results and gainful results, as we said. But after that, it's and because there's such lovely aspects most of the month, don't you might just use the last 10 days and the first 20 days of April, the last 10 days of March and first 20 days of April, to take it easy, to go on a holiday if you can, to do some trip or escape reality and the worldly responsibilities. Or if you can travel, maybe to study something at home, 12 hours, to research, to spend more time meditating in nature, contemplating, researching something, visualizing something. What do you want from the future? Visualize it, dream on it, taste it, feel it, kind of in your mind. This is the 12th house energy. And with Venus in your 12th, first in the 11th house, the first 20 days, first of all, we said it's gainful, but you can make some good friendships there. You can make some good people that can be collaborators, so that can help you in some way, that you have more emotional positive connection, even love you can meet through some social interactions of friends in the first 20 days of March. And then when Venus goes into your 12th house, your relationships, and this is you as well, Venus rules you and it rules love naturally. You might want to spend a bit more then. It's natural with Venus in the 12th, on pampering yourself, on spa, on pleasurable things of some sort. You might want to escape reality in some ways the last 10 days of March, but it also, Venus in the 12th is about maybe private, secret relationship of some sort, starting something. Oh, sorry, still hurts from time to time. I was like that earlier this week. But yes, with Venus in the 12th, you can really find some pleasurable activities privately, or start some private affair, fantasize more. It's good even if you're married, it's good for the romantic side of the life. And it's good for maybe doing some fantasy sex. The bed pleasures in ancient astrology is the 12th house, because the 12th house is the bedroom. And you can just sleep better, basically, from the last 10 days of March and big part of April. Have nicer dreams, so you can have some nicer, pleasurable activities in the bedroom. Of course, let's see where Mars is. And by the way, let me remind you, Taurus, especially Taurus rising, Taurus sun and moon as well, but Venus is still invisible. It will be invisible till it comes out of Aries and comes in Taurus. So when it's invisible, you might generally feel the life force is weaker, and the immune system of a person can weaken. Just my ruler was invisible till today, and in the last 1 month my immune system weakened a lot, and I developed this huge abscess and I could not work. So I'm not telling you this will happen to you. Just measure yourself, don't push yourself. And around April, May, Venus, I have to see exactly when it will become visible. It's on my calendar. Just a second. Venus becomes visible. So so you're warned. Venus becomes visible April 21st. And so exactly, that's the period while your sun is also, when the sun is in your 12th house too. So you'd feel this the need to rest more, to regroup, to recoup. Maybe if you try to start things before April 20th, it might be harder to manifest them because your ruling planet is invisible. So many planets in your 12th house. And so plan, prepare till then, and then plan to initiate and start new things, Taurus, when Venus becomes visible, April 21st, and then the sun enters your sign as well. So you're gonna blow up and you're gonna like have the wind will be behind you in your wind cell from April 20th onwards, but March is still very pleasant month. Rest, regroup, especially the last 10 days. Be active social in the first 10. And you see Mars also. Mars is in your second house, Taurus. Fantastic time, the whole March and big part of April. Um, you can spend more for sure when Mars is in your second house. This is um, definitely a person feels like itching hands. They can be, even if you don't consciously want to do it, they can appear a situation that you have to spend on something, so just be prepared for that. But also Mars gives you an incentive and a drive to be more proactive when it comes to money, of finances, of resources, of assets. And Mars is making wonderful aspects to planets in your 10th house, Saturn and Jupiter, so you can be proactive if you want to find a job, a second or a different income, a second or different, make more money, or initiate some activities in your career that can, that can stabilize or actually um, jumpstart your financial security as well. So you can be very proactive there. Plus, you can be very proactive with you might feel like cooking a lot. Second house is food and what we put in our body, and Mars is energy. Where do you put energy? You might feel like cooking or doing a lot more second house things like gardening, like um, uh, all those, like money and food and the likes. All right. So now let's go to Gemini. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, Taurus, I have a course that is starting on March the 4th. If you want to study astrology with me, I rarely do courses. This will be 13 weeks. Check it out. It's on the aspects. We're going to cover all the possible aspects from a perspective you've never seen before, like rulers. You can see specific things. For example, am I going to live next to water, and am I going to live in mountains, or am I going to be able to get property even, and every single area of life will be covered with very specific aspect. So this will be fantastic course. Okay, Gemini. um let's change it. Gemini, uh, the month will be quite active for you. Why is this? Because your cardinal houses are being very powerfully triggered. Your first house, Mars, enters your sign the beginning of March and will be there for a month and a half. So the whole of March, big part of April, you get energized when Mars enters your sign. You want to do things, you can't sit still then. If you were lazy till now, because Mars was in your 12th house for a month and a half, most of February, big part of January. Well, now when it enters your sign, you'll be like, I'm ready, I have strength again. Even if you felt unmotivated to do your exercises or whatever, this life force is coming back. Of course, on some level, you can feel angry as well, but anger is a great motivator to act, to get us moving. So, I prefer to feel angry than depressed, because when I'm angry, I get things done. When I'm depressed, I don't do anything. So now this fire is entering your energy field, and you can use it very productively, and you can use it especially to get a lot of work done, because Mars rules your sixth house, to initiate a lot of things, to get a lot of daily responsibilities and duty to get them done. And the sixth house rules health as well, to get active, to actively try and change and improve your health as well. And of course, Mars rules your 11th house. You can become very active the whole of March and part of April in gains, because 11th house rules gains and profits, but you pursue them. You initiate them because Mars is in your sign. You don't wait for them to fall on your lap. And to become very active socially as well, to initiate social interactions, because the rule of the 11th rules that. But because Mars also rules your sixth house, when the rule of the sixth enters your sign, health problems might arise, especially because the first house, Gemini, it's your body, whether it's your sun, moon, or ascendant, they all rule certain health areas, physical body areas of you. So when the ruler of the sixth Mars enters your first house, will be there, and it's Mars, some inflammatory conditions can come, like sudden onset of acute symptoms. And and because it's Gemini, I'll be careful with the lungs, with the hands, and those areas of the body. But again, this can just be this angry inflammation that happens. It's just like a sign gets you angry, so you change something about your health, so you're proactive there, and you can do that definitely. Also, Mars is going to make you uh, more ambitious, more driven. Mars is going to get you to do difficult things that you didn't have the courage to do before, more courageous to initiate things, use it. Especially initiate things connected difficult things to sixth house matters, which is initiate new beginnings with health or with your work and responsibilities, or getting done certain errands and stuff that you've been delaying, putting under the carpet, fixing things that need fixing. And the 11th house, Mars as the ruler, we said initiative and driven and more courageous to take things, to initiate social economic projects, long-term goals, gains, and so on. And your planet Mercury is in Aquarius in your 10th house, sorry, in your 9th house till, let me see, sorry, Mercury till the 8th of March. So it's good till the 8th of March to study something, to learn some classes, courses, higher knowledge. There, by the way, I'm starting on March the 4th, a class on the aspects. I rarely do classes once every 2-3 years. It will be 2-3 months long, 4 months even. And it's going to cover all the possible aspects. And you're going to know them like I know them by the end of this course, because I'll repeat and repeat and will cover all possible combinations. So you can use this like a reference book forever, that course. You can, to give specific details about person's life, to check it out. There is a installment payment plan if you cannot afford it all in one go. Please join me. I'm so excited. We're about 200 people now. And I interact personally with everyone if you send me emails, and we have Q&A. Anyway, so 9th house till the 9th, 8th of of March, you can still arrange matters about traveling, higher knowledge, learning, foreign residence documents, legal matters, and you expand your mind, because Mercury is your planet. And by the way, Mercury is visible till March 8th. So very auspicious time for you when Mercury is visible. Very auspicious time to get things done as well, to be proactive. And then it becomes invisible, and it will be invisible till kind of April 20 something. So use this time, the first 10 days of, of March, especially to complete projects that are written, spoken, or something that you started, to complete it. Because when Mercury disappears, your planet, it gives you the results if you've been working on something mercurial, which is your mind, with skills, with hands, with interactions, with business, with commercial activities of any sort. When a planet disappears, it gives you the results of the work you've done. So any mercurial jobs, try and do it till the 10th, and then Mercury enters in your 10th house, where there'll be a big group of people till the 20th, not people, planets, till the 20th. So you're very active on a career field as well, till the 20th. You see, very visible. This is a month, Gemini, where you can be very visible in the public eye, where you can really change the direction of your life. Because when the cardinal signs, the first house, the 10th, the most powerful houses are triggered, this is when you have most free will to direct events according to your vision. So this March, you use it for that, to, especially to direct events in regards to where you want your career to go, to initiate and start new powerful career projects as well. Your mind will be there. Venus will be there. You receive help and support it with career projects. Or if you want to find a new job, March is your month, definitely. And you can have interactions with important authority figures during that time, or institutions. And I think there'll be, of course, Mars will be squaring some of those planets. Actually, it will square just Mercury. They're in Pisces, so it's quite good, actually. So you I think that you can have very good response from authority figures, from people in power if you want to approach them or do something there. Okay, so Gemini, that's quite good. I mean, I have good news for all the signs. I'm very excited. All right, now we go to Cancers. Cancers rising first, sun or moon. Cancer, what's happening? Let's see. There is a powerful trigger of your ninth house, especially till the 20th of March. Mercury will be there, Venus, the sun. The ninth house is, and by the way, the whole of February, all the planets were in your eighth house. And eighth house is a bit of a dark energy. It brings very deep topics of self-introspection, of crisis. Sudden crisis can happen. Maybe to some of you in February, sudden crisis happen, or if you're spiritual, very deeply spiritual period. You know, crisis happen to push us towards looking for deeper meaning and spirituality, and you know, to examine ourselves closer. If you're already spiritual, very self-introspective, February, possibly you could have had some big spiritual breakthrough realizations, big psychological breakthroughs and abilities to heal, but usually it can be quite heavy, bit of a dark energy. And those planets are starting to move out of this eighth house. You still have the whole year eighth house energies, deep realizations, deep healings, hopefully as well, but also crisis situations. It's kind of a bit of a dark house. It rules death and rebirth, and those heavy topics are on your mind. But planets are starting to move into your ninth house, which is the house of hope and faith and positivity. So you're going to feel way more positive in March. You're going to feel like the light at the end of the tunnel for a little bit from this dark. Eighth house is like a cave. You're coming out of a cave into the sun on top of a mountain. And the ninth house is where you have a higher perspective and you can see as if from the top of the mountain and see the forest from the trees from the forest and the direction that you have to go. So you get a higher perspective. You get inspirations. The ninth house is the house of how God communicates to us, the omens God sends us, or your higher self. Your higher self, the Dharma, the path that you're meant to walk in that will give you most fulfillment and joy. So you're going to feel more and more aligned in March. You're going to feel that you have a clue where you want to head because you see the road. You see it not, you're not in the forest or in the cave now, you're above and you can see the path. You're going to feel also, you might get like mentors or people that give you inspiration or even feel inspired to listen to or find such inspirational podcasts or videos or books that you read. You can find someone that you that inspires higher wisdom or higher perspective on you, that gives you hope and faith. If you are in any career that's connected to teaching and inspiring others, you can have very good month as well. You can have good developments with legal matters as well. And optimism will come into you. Definitely you'll feel it. Opportunity and lucky, it's a lucky house, the ninth house. And when you align to your happier version of reality, basically, and you get clues about where you're supposed to go and inspiration, you feel it in your heart deeply. All right, so what else? You can travel, possibility to travel for some of you if you're planning long-term travel somewhere or far away in a country. This can be the month for you, March, because of easy planets there in your ninth house. This can be a good time for it, except be careful around the 23rd, 21st, sorry, 24th, I think it was, when Mars is square Mercury. 24th of March, it's more stressful for traveling and such things. And Cancers, you have Mars in your 12th house the whole of the month and big part of April as well. This is a combination where you can spend more. It's okay, you know, to spend more. um, it's just the house of expenses, and Mars there can give such ones. But it's also can mean that, what can you spend more for? Let's see. Mars rules your fifth house for pleasures, for children, for entertainment, for enjoyments, going out. Mars also rules your 10th house. You might have to spend because of your career plans and goals or something connected to institutions and so on. Another thing is that when Mars is in the 12th house, people feel a little bit less energetic, let's say like that, because your Mars's drive and energy, 12 houses, where it gets dissipated. It's good to use to help others. When you give your energy without expecting a return, maybe do some charity, helps others. So use your energy to let go of something, to let go of things. I don't know, it might be possessions, it might be let go of, because Gemini is there, unnecessary. Use your energy to maybe clear up your social accounts, media accounts, um, to 12 houses endings, completion. So to complete some project that you've been working already on behind the scenes, putting final touches. That's for all of March and big part of April as well. But 12 house is foreign travel as well. So you can be, again, there's a theme here for cancers that you can travel abroad, and that you can or have interactions and be very active with exchanges of business or communications even with people from foreign countries. But 12 house is also spiritual activities. You can be very active in any spiritual activity, and spiritual activities is anything that puts your mind and soul at rest. It might be meditation, it might be active meditation, it might be breathing techniques, it might be being in nature and resting. But it's kind of because Mars is there, it has to be more active, and of course, 12 house is self-sabotaging behaviors. If you have addictions, you can become more compulsive with them, trying to escape reality. So that's just a warning that it is a possibility. But those of you um, who don't have such addictions, they definitely try and escape reality and put a lot of energy through some imaginative, creative activities. 12 house rules the imagination, so you can be very active in completing such creative, imaginative projects as well. But there is a very strong activation of this 9th house in March and this 12th house, which are traveling, first of all, and learning. They're higher knowledge, spiritual knowledge, research and study. 12th house is also research, 9th house is learning and study. And because of that, I'll invite you to start with me a new course on March the 4th on the aspects, the most intensive course I have done. It will be weekly, it will be a few months, for approximately. We're going to cover all the possible aspects. And if you know, when I do a course, I give it my all. It's going to be 50, 60 hours. We'll cover all possible aspects. And by the end of this course, we'll be able to read charts like a professional. So thank you, Gemini. If you want to, a Cancer, sorry, if you want to study with me, we have one more week before we start. Now, let's see, what is the next sign? Leo. Leo, rising sun or moon. There is a powerful activation. Planets are starting to move from your 7th house into your 8th house in March. 8th house is a spiritual house. This can be a good time for studying, for researching. 8th house is to dig deep, to research. Some secrets can come to the surface, but because it's all gentle planets going into your 8th house, those secrets, they're not negative. They kind of give you more strength in some way. You might become in a much more investigative state of mind, almost like a spy, or like not spy, but like a detective. You might be drawn to more occult topics in March, to study, to research, maybe like astrology, like tarot, like the hit psychology as well. And you can have some deep realizations in regards to your traumas, your repeating patterns. It can be a great time to work with a psychologist or start therapy of some sort as well, or start studying yourself through astrology and such to discover patterns there. And I'm starting a course on astrology on all the aspects on March the 4th. If you want to join me, Leos, it will be epic course. I've been preparing for 2 years for it, so I have a lot to give. If you like to learn astrology from scratch on all the aspects, you don't even need to know astrology. I'll cover everything on the aspects. Do join me. But also the 8th house is about mutual resources and finances. So some of you might be hectically active in sorting out finances, your taxes, inheritances, insurances. Because the planets are gentle, you'll receive help with those things. Mind you, you can even hide some taxes and get tax rebates or returns of some sort, because of Neptune there. And because Venus and Mercury and the Sun is there, you can receive money from another. If you're expecting support from either government or from a partner, there can be some support. Or even your partner can make a bit more money. Or if you're working with clients and partners, this is their resources that can come more easily to you during this period. Right. And exploring the deeper, more taboo topics. Eighth house is the house also of deep sexuality. And Victor, one of our astrologers, has noticed that soulmates relationships happen when the eighth house is activated. I'm not saying all Leos are going to meet soulmate relationship, but there is an activation there in their house. I remember I met my life partner with a powerful eighth house activation. And usually they might start secretively, those relationships, so very strong, intense sexual desire. Eighth house, the house of conception. If you're trying to conceive, there is activation there for you, Leos. And plus, you see, your seventh house is still super activated the whole year. So I think for many Leos, this can be a year that they can have very important relationships in their life that also, especially now in March, have a sexual kind of soulmate connection to it. But all the energies in those houses for you, Leo, which is other people's houses, other people's resources, you can receive things from others. So kind of like your life depends a little bit more on others, and you have to take into consideration what others want from you or what others demand. Kind of a bit, not so much me, let me do what I want, but maybe you need the support of another to collaborate. Maybe you need the financial support of another. Maybe you need the skills and knowledge of another. And it's better to do things with another now than to do it alone. I'd say the whole year, but especially March. But the opportunity for new resources can come to you in March through others as well. And Mars, of course, Mars is changing signs, and the whole of March and big part of April, it will be in a sign that supports Leo, in an air sign. Air feeds fire, and you're fire. It will be in your 11th house. You feel very good flow of energy. You would feel quite, that you can get things done, especially when it comes to gains and earnings. The 11th house is gains and earnings, or to go after your long-term goals and dreams. You can put a lot of work into getting things done, which are connected to some kind of a dream of yours, or kind of a wish, or some social economic gains and earnings, or social and economic goals of sorts. And 11th house is titles and honors. You can make some advance and move forward in that direction. You can make more bold decisions with financial matters there as well. You can be more socially active as well. 11th house is to connect with like-minded people, whether online or physically directly. Definitely, you can feel a lot more social activity and connection and meet people in March. And actually, you proactively seek them out and connect with them. And you can do something creative together in combination with people as well, because Mars rules your fifth house, sorry, not creative, sorry, your fourth house, my bad. And especially you might feel motivated to join large groups of people that you have the same ideology with, because 11th house rules large groups of people. It can be social activism of sorts, or for topics that are meaningful for you, to be very vocal about them, to do something about it, to participate physically, especially because of same ideals, because Mars rules your ninth house, the same belief systems, a vision for the future of some sort. Okay. So there you go. This is for you, Leo. Hope that makes sense for you. Venus is in your 8th house. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say, while it's in the 8th house, it can create some very intense sexual encounters and deep bonding with another person. It might be more private, it might be more secretive, but it is intense. And then Venus from April 20th moves into your ninth house and is there till April 20th approximately. Or April 15th or something like that. This is fantastic time for you to travel, to arrange documents for foreign residence, if you can, from March 20th onwards. It's fantastic time to meet love abroad, you can meet someone that is not from your social environment, from your close environment, someone from another state or from another town or from another country that can help you in some way, or even there can be a romantic connection there. And it's Venus in a fire sign. You're gonna feel more romantic, you're gonna feel more, kind of excitable, you're gonna feel more experimental in relationships. So that's a good energy, good support. When Venus is in another fire sign, it really supports and protects you. And Leos, you're gonna start feeling so much better after March the 20th, when those planets from the water signs come into the fire signs. March 20th, Venus and Sun enter another fire sign. So you and exit that water energy, which is heavier, which is deeper, which is slower, which is like wading through an ocean. It's kind of emotional, it's too introspective, and you enter much more outgoing energy, much more fiery energy. So after March 20th, you'd come into way more power and way more optimism. The ninth house is optimism, faith, power, seeing the bigger picture, getting excited about life, being connected to your higher mission. There you go. Now let's go to the next sign, Virgo. Oh, I think I need my charger. Just give me a second. I'm here. There we go. Oh. Yes, I did not plan well. Sorry. All right, Virgo. Your planet Mercury is visible till March the 8th, 9th. Fantastic time to complete mercurial activities. And it's to complete, especially in combination with other people, any projects, mutual projects you're doing with another. And it's visible and it becomes invisible in your seventh house. There can be some endings with relationships or contracts or agreements. Sorry, I was running up and down the stairs. Or completions, or completing some kind of contract you have. It doesn't have to be negative. Actually, I think there's so many good aspects in March that just things are going to flow. Geez. So there is a big, planets are moving from your sixth house that were there mostly in February and January, which is responsibilities, duties, into your seventh house. And you're going to become way more social. You're going to become way more interactive with others. In March, actually, there is a possibility even to have important relationships or collaborations start in March, to meet important people of some sort that you can collaborate, that can help you. You can even meet a romantic partnership, committed, someone that can have a potential of a committed relationship because of this powerful activation with mostly gentle planets, Venus, Neptune, Mercury, the Sun. So, or if you're already in a relationship, if you're single, put yourself out there, because you see, there's such powerful activations for relationships. If you're already married or in a relationship, you can find that your partner is becoming very active, that your partner is beginning some new things in their life that can affect you, that you are just spending more time with partners, personal or business, that you're starting initiatives with other people. And you see, your force and your power comes through others this month. So try not to do things alone in March. try to collaborate with others, engage with others, build bridges this month, and you're going to have great results because the aspects are lovely. And you can make big changes, let's say, in your relationships or contracts and agreements with others. Or, for example, if you're trying to sell or buy something, this is the house of, trading. You can be very busy. If you're a salesperson of any sorts, again, you can approach clients and others. And because of these planets, Venus, Mercury, they're silver tongued, and you can forge good alliances that are balanced and good for both sides. Um, so it's good for all such things, whether it's sales and business with others, gaining new clients, uh, having important one-to-one conversations that are receiving support from others, let's say, uh, completing contracts or signing contracts of any sorts as well, sales of any sorts, all good for those things. While Mars is going to be in your 10th house the whole month, and then the big part of April. This is very important month for you, Virgo, to do something with your career. For example, you can, and you have to initiate it. You have to take, to do the important steps. You can't wait for it. For others, well, someone can offer it to you because there's strong involvement with others, but you have to do the hard work. For example, the speed that your work can pick up. You might have more work, more uh, start some new projects there with your career. If you're your own boss, initiate new things that you're launching that you have to work very hard. You might have some um, might have to hurry up for some dead ends when it comes to career, but basically very active, very hectic in the field of career, in the field of worldly responsibilities, very visible as well. Your actions will not be hidden. Your actions will be up there for everyone to see. There can be interactions with authority figures, whether it's like bosses or father figures or institutions, or authority figures of any sorts that are very martial. For example, your boss might become more demanding, faster, 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 or you might meet more martial, kind of ambitious authority figures. So you can have clashes, unfortunately, with authority figures. I don't know, whether with the police or whether with some other boss figure of some sort. But uh, just keep this in mind, and try to use this powerful seventh house. Seventh house is also to reason, to collaborate, to cooperate, to find, to communicate with others especially with gentle planets, in a gentle way, so both sides can be happy. And so try and use those planets for that. But also, if you don't have a job, for example, you can become very initiative in finding one now. If you're Virgo rising, because of this Mars, the whole March and big part of April is there in your 10th house. So yeah, I think it can be quite successful in that area. You see, when the angles are triggered, and mostly the angles are triggered for you this month, these are months of a lot of activity. So you'll be very active, Virgos. You'll not be just sitting around. You'll be actively pursuing deals, actively pursuing relationships as well, collaborating with others, socializing, plus actively pursuing career and worldly responsibilities and duties of any sorts, and getting things done there. Um, okay, and from March 20th, the Sun and the Sun and Venus enter your 8th house. So that's a house that's more sexual house. It can fire up your sexual desires a bit more, especially the kinkier ones, or the desire for intimacy, bonding with another, merging as one. It can also put focus from March 20th on taxes. Um, but things will go well because there are good aspects, they're smooth aspects, nice planet Venus there. You can find the right accountant or the right advisor for taxes. So if you they can come from March 20th onwards, in April, opportunities for resources to come to you from others, to collaborate with another as well, that you can receive their support, their skills, their help in some way, or gains through another person as well. Also, it's a fantastic time from March 20th onwards, to really dive deep into psychological work, to start researching more deeper topics or occult topics, taboo topics, conspiracy topics, astrology, to get the deep answers to self introspection or research of any sort. Um, and astrology, occult, tarot, all of those things, you might feel very fascinated and drawn to spend time and study after March 20th and big part of April. And if you are drawn to that, you can join me on my course about the aspects. I make a course once every 2-3 years only. It's going to be 4 or 5 months. You can watch it live or the recordings, and it's going to cover all the aspects from very different perspective. We're going to use three types of astrology: ancient, Western, and Vedic. So there is no such course anywhere. If you're interested, I'm excited that I'll do it. We'll cover very specific, absolutely all combinations. Okay, Libra. Let's change the background. Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Libra, the planets are starting to move in March into your sixth house. It's time to get things done. It's time to take care of the things of the worldly responsibilities. That can mean you might suddenly have an urge to clean up the garage. It can suddenly have urge to rearrange your cupboards. Suddenly have an urge to streamline and more systemize your work process, so it takes you shorter time to, instead of spending 5 hours on emails, you kind of rearrange the routines there and the process. So definitely the sixth house is about organizing better, about finding more, using your critical mind to not just work hard, but work smart as well. And yes, worldly responsibilities do increase, a lot of errands, but you kind of feel aligned to get those things done. Almost like you might feel quite excited to do spring cleaning. If it's not normally your thing, you can feel like, okay, now it's time. I'm gonna burn all the cardboard and I'm gonna clean things up. Or just, sixth house has the energy of uh, Virgo, even though for you Libras, it's in Pisces because you're reversed. Everything for you is the opposite. So naturally, Libras are not too inclined to order, of course, unless they have strong Saturn or, Virgo planets. But now, because Pisces is their sixth house, um, they're to utilitarianism. They incline to beauty, but not to, six houses to make things useful and constructive and utilitarian, a place for everything and everything as a place, make it practical. So now you'll be dealing with such things, make things practical, cope with problems you haven't coped, like six houses, daily responsibilities, fixing things that are broken. All of those things. If you've been sweeping the dirt under the carpet, now it'll be like, okay, time for full cleaning. Sixth house is also work. With lovely planets day in March, especially till the 20th of March, your work can pick up, your work duties and responsibility. Plus, if you don't have a job, this can be a good time to find a job now. Because of Venus, Mercury, lovely planets, it might happen easily. Or you can find an employee if you're employed. If you're looking for employees, this is a good time. Or if you want to find a pet, your sixth house, it can be an activation for you to do right now. If you want to hire the right people will come to you. It will be perfect. It will flow gently. Uh, and health. Now can be lovely time in March to start something. And by the way, because your planet Venus is invisible, the whole February almost it was invisible, the whole March it's invisible, and it becomes visible towards April 22nd or 3rd or something like that. So while your planet is invisible because Venus rules you, you can feel a little bit less life force, a little bit less motivation, and you can feel a little bit more like the immune system weakens a little bit. Like I said to everyone, my ruler was invisible till now, Saturn, that rules my ascendant, and I developed a really bad infection. I'm still swollen, you can see it. So it's good to take it a little bit easier, to research a little bit, to study, to, rather than go full force. And then Venus will become visible in your eighth house, and I'll tell you about that in the April videos. It will be great for you. It can bring sudden opportunities for wealth through stock market and other people. But for now, we focus that Venus is invisible. It's good time to not to push yourself to the limit, get things done, arrange things around, take care of material responsibilities of sort is very good in March. And when Venus then from March 20th moves into your seventh house with the sun, your focus will go a lot more towards relationships, towards spending time with others, but in a pleasant way. Your partner can become more agreeable. Some of you might even meet a relationship with activation of Venus in your seventh house. Well, Venus transits your seventh house of others and partnerships every year. Doesn't mean all Libras always find a partner, but it's an opening, it's a chance. Or just you're going to attract more likable people and important people. The sun is important people, Venus is likable. And because Venus is you, it goes into your seventh house after March the 20th, you'd have a lot more, you yourself would go and approach others, maybe to collaborate, to do something together. It can be a good time to sign a contract after March 20th till April 20th as well. It can be a good time to collaborate, to do business deals, to attract, to sell and buy, to attract more clients that you go after yourself, so and you would attract quite nice clients that you actually prefer. All right, so another thing is that Mars is going to be in your ninth house the whole March and a big part of April, very supportive because Mars is in another air sign and you Libras are air sign. Wow, good. What does it mean? It's everything that you start doing, which is Mars, the activities you initiate, there'll be easy flow. There'll be, even if there's some complications, it will be just temporary, but there'll be an easy flow. For your activities, and especially when it comes to relationships, because Mars rules your seventh house. And when the ruler of the seventh house is in the lucky ninth house, and Venus after the 20th of March enters your seventh house, I think there can be something good here when it comes to relationships, personal or business. That luck comes to you through that you receive support. And, the ninth house is basically sends a trine, something happening easy through partnership, through collaborating, through relationships. You can also, another person might open up new vistas for you. They can trigger you into to expand your vision, to see things from a higher perspective, to bring your opportunities to you. Nine houses opportunities. Another person, it can be your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or just a friend, can also, or someone that you meet can also expand your opportunities, and can introduce you to higher perspective of some sort. And of course, Mars also rules your second house. When it's in the ninth house, if you initiate activities connected to relationships or partnership will go good, or if you initiate activities connected to finances as well, they will be luckier. You'll have the higher perspective, a bird's view rather than an ant's view. So you can have like more intuitions, almost to speak, when it comes to financial matters, a higher perspective there. You can be in touch with, the true value, let's say, of things materially and of relationships. And also, I think there can be some luck connected to combining your forces with another person, whether collaborating or partnerships or your marriage partner, that brings more money, and it's like an opportunity. Also, this can be a good time, the whole March and be part of April, to do some trip. Mars is in the ninth house, triggering the third and ninth. They're about traveling, and maybe with a partner as well. To do some, but of course Mars is a bit stressful as well, so there can be some energy of, a bit of a stress there, but still it's making a trine. This can be a great time to start studying something. Mars in the ninth house, higher knowledge, find a mentor, a tutor, a course, a class, to see the higher perspective, to understand the truth. It can be also a great time to take actions towards your ideals, actions towards something that you feel very strongly about, but be careful because you might fight with people. You feel very strongly about what you believe. This is what Saturn is. You can become Mars, sorry, is to feel very strongly about, to be ready to fight for your beliefs, and you're ready to take actions in regards to that, how you perceive reality. And it's, but at the same time, it makes you actively pursue new knowledge. And if you want to learn new knowledge, and if you want to study with me, I'm sorry, I'm repeating it for every sign, but most people just click to their sign so they don't miss this opportunity. If they're interested to study astrology with me, 4-month course or 3 months, depends how long it goes, on all the aspects. We're going to cover absolutely all the aspects with all specific life events that can happen according to the aspects you have in your horoscope, foundational astrology course. But even if you are practicing astrology, I will tell you information that you've never heard before, and I will tell you very different perspective. And it's nowhere, there's no such cool books for aspects, because we'll be covering the ruler of the first sextile, the ruler of the seventh, and what does it mean, or the ruler of the first opposite Uranus, what does it mean for you, and specific life events. So it's going to be nothing that's out there on the internet. All right, so Scorpio, let's change the background. Scorpio rising, sun, moon, or ascendant. Scorpio, let's start with the planet that rules you. One of your rulers, it is Gemini. And Gemini, it's Mars. Your visible ruler, it's Mars, so it shows where your visible actions will be, in what area of life. Well, Mars was in Taurus in your 7th house for 2 months almost, and now from March, it's moving into the 8th house. So you're going to notice that you become even more scorpionic than you naturally are, because the 8th house is the natural house of Scorpio. Your planet date means you put on your X-ray glasses and you're going to just smell bullshit, especially because it's in Gemini. Gemini is what others say, or communications. You read something, you'd know it with your gut. Oh, this is bullshit. Or someone smiles at you and tells you something, you're like, they're lying to me. It's like your bullshit barometer will be at all high level, especially about communications and what others say. And you can even unearth some secrets, because Mars likes to dig in the 8th house very deep, and you call out other people's bullshit, because it's in Gemini, you're very vocal about it. My son is Gemini of Scorpio rising, so we'll see. But also you're more belligerent with Mars in the 8th house. It can give this energy, but you're not doing it in an obvious way. You're doing it in a very clever, strategic way. You're planning your steps. You're researching whatever you're fighting against or whatever you want to do. You're investigating it like a detective. March and big part of April, and then with the sting of the Scorpio, you just attack. That's the right way to act for you. And Mars will be with the North Node. So definitely fantastic time to investigate, to research, to dive deep. 8th house is the house of the occult, like Scorpio is an occult sign as well. Astrology, psychology, the hidden, psychotherapy, past life regressions, life after death, researching such topics. You might be very active in such, talking about them, communicating, because it's Gemini, or just researching them. You can, conspiracies, secrets, you can be very vocal about such things as well. And if you want to study something occult, if this Mars is pushing you in that direction, come and join me with my course on the aspects. It starts on March the 4th. It will be a few months, and check out the link below. It will show you a description of what it is. We're going to cover all the aspects from a very different perspective, in a way that you can show specific, not just psychological features, but very specific events that will happen to a person and that are part of their path in life. Okay, but the 8th house is also mutual finances, resources, taxes, insurances, inheritances. And in March and April, you're going to be very involved with those. You're going to actively, proactively have to do things there, fix things there. Mars likes to fix things. Mars likes to get things done. You can find yourself like a shark accountant that can spare you money and stuff. And the eighth house is going after other people's resources. So whether you're in business or whatever, you can proactively try and secure other people's resources or negotiate things in such a way that the resources, that there is more access to other resources. Or you might be gathering some kind of eight houses, I don't know, fundraising of some sort can go well with Mars activating the eighth house. Another thing of the eighth house is what I think we said it all. Oh, it is power struggles. Eighth houses, but it's your inner demons. And I actually really like when Mars goes into the eighth house. It's a natural house for Mars because one can have a breakthrough about their patterns, usually that the compulsive obsessive patterns, and Mars can allow like a puncture or a breakthrough through such with a deep psychological realization, for example. And Mars in the eighth house in ancient astrology, when it transits, can give sudden healings. So I like that because usually those healings come because there's some deep psychological realization that happens, because most physical problems, 80% of them are due to emotional pain that we carry in the body that turns into a physical one that we have not processed, we have not realized, and we carry it and it gives us pains and aches. So Mars in the eighth house, because it allows you to be so deeply psychologically insightful. Maybe you can read something through astrology, or maybe you can read the book or whatever. You can have like a awareness suddenly that breaks through this emotional pain, and sudden healings can follow as a result of that. On another level, eight houses are the people's money, so they can be more spending. For example, your partner can be spending more, or you might have to spend more on a business partnership, for example, something like that. Okay, but you also might find yourself acting secretively, more secretively behind the scenes here, in the eighth house, doing something, there. It's up to you whether it's positive or negative. Our free will is whether we align with good deeds or negative deeds. But definitely, whatever you're doing is not going to be visible for others. It's also good for, you know, hidden money and things like that. But if you don't want to be found out, you can even have sexual encounters that are not found out, because Mars is very sexual, primal, eight houses as well. And Rahu is super horny there. Rahu is with Mars. So if you want to cheat, I mean, I'm not telling you, but, or if you want to have some more kinky sex with your partner, something more secretive, more taboo, now is the time. Please don't cheat. No one should cheat. Okay. Then you have a big activation, Scorpio, in your fifth house. Yay. Enough with that dark energy there in the eighth house. Fifth house, powerful activation, Scorpio, March. You can have more fun. Oh, it's another sexual house. Ooh. Eighth and fifth house is sexual. They're also houses of conception. If you're Scorpio rising or Scorpio moon, watch out. If you're a woman, if you don't want to get pregnant this month, there's strong activation of pregnancies houses. If you want to, fantastic. But both houses are sexual. One is sex for fun, the other one is sex for procreation or sex for control and stuff, or merging deeply. I don't know. It's like maybe more of that will happen. Fifth house is also to have fun. And to have fun, people have fun in different ways, but have fun is usually the things that make you feel alive, doing more of the things that make you feel alive. Sometimes it's sport, sometimes it's hobbies, sometimes it's just going out with friends and laughing, going to restaurants. You have an opportunity to have more of those, to get in touch with your inner child, to get in touch with that joy of life. You're going to start feeling like you're flowing, you're happier. So that's great activation. Plus it's romance, the fifth house, and Venus is there till April 20th. They can be opportunity for more romantic, pleasurable activities, maybe a date or something like that. You're enjoying your hobbies, your creative projects is as well, the fifth house. You're going to start feeling your creative juices flow, Mark. You're going to start getting ideas. There'll be new moon in Pisces. Um, so this new moon in Pisces, around that time, you can get a lot of new creative ideas. Let me see where exactly the new moon is. New moon in Pisces on the 13th of March. So a few days before, a few days after, great new ideas can come. Fifth house is the house also of children. You can be much more active and have very pleasant moments with children in play, in games. You can even be luckier in games of gambling, like games of chance of some sort. And if you're in a stock market, fifth house is very speculative, like startup investments and stuff. They can be a bit more luck for you here for March. Eighth house is also stock markets, other people's resources and hedge funds and mutual, what's like investments and stuff. So there is this activity here. Uh, I'm not saying, I think it's a bit more on the luckier side. So there is possibility more for that side. Okay, fifth house is creative opportunities. We said letting your hair down, getting in touch with the inner child, feeling more alive, getting in the flow, new hobbies, and not so much hobbies and interests like knitting and whatever. No, this is something that is meaningful for you. This is something that it's something that feels like dharma, and dharma is the path of happiness. Dharma is the path of fulfillment, the highest fulfillment. So this is what you're kind of aligning to in March. And then from March 20th it becomes a little bit more humdrum, because Mars and Venus enter your sixth house. It will be about get doing responsibilities, taking care of material things, more work, more duties, um, fixing things around, and errands and chores, putting more order. But till then, it's a bit more fun and enjoyment, and romantic activities as well, creative activities, and then you become more practical again, and reality calls you back to deal with it. There you go, Scorpios. So let's see. What is the next sign? So you see, I don't have bad things to say to any of the signs, because there's flowing energy. It's like, I hope I'm right. I just want to give hope to everyone, because February was tough with all those planets in Aquarius in one place. Anytime there are big stelliums, things are tough. New beginnings are tough. Okay. So the next sign is Sagittarius. Sagittarius. There is a activation the first 20 days in your fourth house. There'll be a lot of focus if you're Sagittarius rising, to a lesser degree sun or moon as well. And this is tropical astrology. I use tropical only. There is a big focus on family. Maybe you might want to, and then gentle planets, Mercury, Venus, the sun, Neptune. You might enjoy spending more time at home. You might feel like being around loved ones more. Or you might feel like beautifying your home, moving things around a little bit, or buying things for your home. Or you might feel like gardening or something like that, you know. Or you might be connecting with family and loved ones in some way. Some of you might be a time to buy or sell property where things go more smoothly in March, or um, find a place of living, for example. Another level of, and it's kind of more about grounding yourself emotionally, going into your castle, that where you feel safe, and shaking off the worries of the world, and just kicking off your shoes. Well, we've been staying at home all the time. I know, you're like, enough of that, I'm done with that. You especially have itchy feet, you're Sagittarius. But it's kind of like you might feel drawn to that energy. Of course, Saturn and Jupiter continue to be in your third house, topics of wanting to travel and topics of learning and new skills and knowledge will be prevalent for you the whole year. Sagittarius, you have amazing opportunity to learn skills that you've never learned before, that can be very productive for you for years ahead. Don't lose it this year. And to forge new friendships. It continues the whole year. New friendships, new connections, new clients if you want, new database of clients, new social contacts of any sorts, building bridges. And it can, in March as well, it will be very strong, because Mars activates another social house of yours. The whole March and big part of April, Mars will be in your seventh house with the North Node. So you can attract some quite fascinating people, I would say, that have more of a martial energy, more ambitious people. And Rahu is also ambitious, that are more driven, might be a little bit of sharks. Maybe you need a little bit of this push now of a shark person, more kind of even almost materially driven. Rahu is materialistic, Mars is ambitious. And because the South Node has been in your first house for a while now, and the whole of 2021 will be then, the South Node makes us not be so easy to be like to push ourselves. It's kind of dissolves our ambition a little bit, but the ambition for you comes to you through others. Maybe you find like an agent or business partner now that they're the driven one, that they push you somehow, or you collaborate with partnerships with some kind of mutual project with another, and they push you, you know. But also, this combination is a bit of a shark combination in a sense. If you're a business person, you have to do negotiations. You can, you know, when Mars is in the seventh house, you can forge like kind of quite shark-like deals. So going after clients and securing new clients and stuff like that as well. You see it very much, and Mars is making wonderful aspects to Saturn, to Jupiter here in Aquarius. So fantastic month, the whole month, and even big part of April, to create connections, collaborations, partnerships, and to even relationships, because seventh house rules personal relationships. Why is that? And there might be actually romantic relationships for some of you Sagittarius, because Mars rules the fifth house of romance and having fun and feeling in love. And it goes in the seventh house of committed relationships. So you can find yourself, especially you might attract more martial people this month and in April, like more Aries or more men around you, or youthful people. Mars rules youthful people, more driven or more physical, or more kind of that, more muscular even, or more sporty, or just more ambitious, or just more cheeky and energetic, or just more angry people as well. Be careful, Mars is angry people. And because Rahu is there, you can attract like a younger foreigner, for example. Rahu means foreigner, so someone out of state, or someone from a different social class. Or Mars can be, you know, not necessarily younger, but more youthful, more excitable, and so on. So a lot of activities there with others, forging deals. Actually, if you decide to close deals and sign contracts now, you can have quite of a, you know, depends, you know, because you can attract someone that they're the shark in the forging of the the forging of the bill. And it's good if, for example, if you have to forge a deal, something, find like a middleman, like a lawyer or someone for them to promote your interests, because others are like the, you know, the shark energy is there. So a lawyer, or, you know, like a middleman that can forge this for you, or like an agent. If you have certain goals and plans, find an agent that they go and they, you know, they open doors for you as well. All right. So, and then from March 20th, the Sun and Venus move into your fifth house. This is when, Sagittarius, you're going to start feeling more like yourself. When the planet starts moving into fire, your fire, finally, you're going to start having more energy. You're going to start feeling more motivated from March 20th. And it will continue for a long time till April 20th, that the planets, Venus will be in fire, Mercury will join it after. And it's happening in your fifth house of having fun. So the first 20 days might be a little bit more, let's say, about taking care of family and relationships there and dealings with others. And then after March 20th, you're going to start feeling the energies moving to your fifth house, which is having more fun, play like a child, romance, party, enjoying yourself more. You know, it's going on dates, or just doing things that make you feel really aligned, feeling more aligned with the divine fire. When there is divine fire flowing around you, you as a fire sign, you just feel in the flow, you feel inspired, there is inspiration that comes, new creative projects that are going to come to you, new ideas, you'll be bubbling with new creative ideas. And I'm not talking creative ideas about making paintings. Creative idea is anything. Creative idea can be like, wow, I want to live in France. I'm creatively inspired to do that. It's it's your higher intelligence that speaks, because the fifth house is one of the divine houses. The first, the fifth, the ninth, when they get activated, God aligns you to your true dharma, to your true fulfillment and joy in life. And yeah, so you're going to feel very excited and feel more alive, more joyful, more playful, and so on. But don't forget that the theme of the whole year is Saturn and Jupiter in your third house the whole year. Just March, it's all those things, the temporary that we talked about. The whole year is gain new skills and knowledge, expand your portfolio of connections socially, learn, read, study, and try, third house is to commercial business activities. If you can do such things, commercial business activities, starting new businesses and stuff, this is fantastic. Self-made wealth through your skills, but especially making the connections, making the association, connecting with the associates, connecting with the clients, building that database, and learning those skills, and any classes, courses, if you can take, fantastic time for you to do it the whole year. And if you want to learn astrology with me, again, we're starting a course on March the 4th. It's going to be 3 or 4 months every week. And as you know, when I do a course, I give it my all. Every class will be 4 hours or more, and we'll cover all the possible aspects between houses, house lords, and planets in a way that you've never seen before. And we'll cover yogas, which is combinations and what that connect you to certain results in life. Yogas is to be yoked to something. It's a combinations. There are combinations for wealth. There are combinations for problems. There are combinations for greatness and fame. We'll cover all of them. We'll see which ones you have. All right. Capricorn. Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. What is happening there? There is a big stellium that's starting to form, planets going into your third house in March. Third house is very communicative. In big part of March, you'll feel like connecting with people. The speed of your daily life is going to increase. Like you'll have more errands to run. You'll have more people will be calling you more on social media, on your phone. You'll be exchanging information and news. You'll become way more social. You'll come out of your shell a little bit, and you'll become way more inclined to reach out to others. Others will reach out to you. You can get a lot done when the third house is activated. You might have a lot more kind of activities connected to writing, to speaking, to marketing. It's good time to launch such things, whether it's websites, whether it's articles, whether it's products. Third house is a very business house, administrative, commercial interactions of any sorts and transactions. So that's where, especially till the 20th of March, the activity can be quite busy. Or even if you're not involved like that, it's maybe at your work, there'll be more administrative tasks. So at home, you might have to be dealing more with laptops, internet, Zoom meetings, third house rules, any kind of meetings, small team environment activities. And because the planets are mostly very good, Venus, Mercury, good planets, the Sun, Neptune, gentle, such activities will go well. Or you can find yourself that you're connecting more with neighbors or with mates, that you have more social interactions, that you travel more in the short. Maybe you can go away for the weekend. Maybe this can, this can trigger you to do some short trips and journeys. So you can just find yourself that you're driving a lot more than normal. Running from one place to another. There is movement there. There is interactions. You can find yourself getting together with neighbors or friends, or on social media exchanging more. Just that at work you have to have more business meetings, that you have to have more Zoom meetings, that you have to talk more, that you have to make more presentations, and so on. And I would say if you want to travel somewhere, that can be a good time to March the 20th. Around March 24th, 5th, there is a hard aspect connected to traveling. Be careful. But the rest of the times, it's quite good. It's also fantastic, third house, when it gets activated to learn new skills. Third house is skills, knowledge, information, um, classes, courses of any sort, just like the ninth house. And you're going to enjoy it. Venus, Mercury. Um, if you start such skills, it's going to flow for you. It's going to even be beneficial in some way, those new skills. And if you want to learn astrology with me, I'm starting a new course. It's foundational. You don't even need to know much of astrology, but we're going to go very deep. We're going to cover all possible combinations. It will be almost like an encyclopedia reference book for all aspects that you can use for life. When you read charts to see what events can manifest in the life of this person, they'll be very specific. They'll be very practical, not so much emotional. Oh, you're inclined to depression so much, or you're someone. It will be very specific events that will aspects can give, and I'll be sharing them with you. Okay, so yeah, do join me. Third house is also marketing, sales, communications. All of those, you can be very active in them and have good results in March till the 20th. And then Venus and the Sun from March 20th onwards enter your fourth house. So you have some lovely moments with home, with family, around the house, maybe improving something in your home. From March the 20th onwards and big part of April, you can relocate, you can go visit family of some sort, or you can even do something nice about your home, start gardening, put focus on such kind of uh, my home is my and and like getting excited about improving your home and family environment and feeling like my home is my castle type of thing. Maybe relocation, finding the right property, selling the right property becomes easier after March 20th and big part of April. But first, a lot of exchange, a lot of information, a lot of communications, a lot of busy mind active there. Okay. And then let's see where Mars is. And I want to tell you there's good news as well, because Saturn, your planet, is visible till the end of the year. You can start new things, especially new things connected to material, financial matters. Saturn is just becoming visible today. So if you've been feeling under the weather, Capricorn, from the end of February, you're going to start feeling more and more coming into your power, that you can affect things externally, that you can direct things that you can direct matters into the direction that you want. Okay. And then Mars, let's see what Mars is for you. Mars, the whole of March and April, it's changing sign from your fifth house. It's going into your sixth house. Well, time to fix things. Sixth house is the house of the apprentice, the employee, the problem solver. And Mars there loves to solve problems. Is there a broken sink? Is there software that is bugging you or whatever? You go and fix things. It's you go and start organizing things as well. You might go in a little bit of a spring cleaning. You might go a little bit clean crazy to organize, to put order around you. And with Mars there, you're kind of ruthless. Okay, this I need to optimize things. This is the sixth house. I need to make them more practical. I need to make them more productive. So I love when Mars transit the sixth house, because you get so much done, because you things that you have been postponing, that things that are boring or irritable, especially of material nature, to fix something, to organize, to arrange, to get some job done. When Mars goes there, you're like, okay, I have the energy now to do it. No more wasting time. Chop, 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 chop. And you put things in order by the end of this transit, by the end of mid-April or something, when Mars leaves, or the end of April, when Mars leaves Gemini, you'd have done a lot of work, let's say, and work that's usually that I know Capricorns are not scared from work, but it's kind of like the dirty work, the behind the scene work. But also, if you're employed somewhere, you might see that there is an increase of the workflow, that there is an increase of the tasks you have to do, maybe some deadlines you have to chase, But also, you can be very proactive with Mars in your successful of getting a job if you want a new job, or proactive of getting new employees. And if you employ someone now, whether it's someone to help you at home or whether it's someone for your business, um, these people will be quite motivated. They'll have Mars energy. They'll be quite ambitious as well. Maybe not the most obedient ones, but they'll have a mind of their own. They might be a bit difficult even and a bit rebellious, but they'll be quite initiative. They're not going to wait around you to tell them what to do. If you're looking for such employees, now is the time. You also, as an employee, as a worker, will be much more initiative than other times. No nonsense, getting things done. Sixth house, though, is also the house of health. And when Mars goes there, I have to advise you for a month, 2 months, March and April, it's easier to get sick. Why is that? Because especially with inflammatory Mars things, and especially connected to lungs or Gemini things, hands and accidents on hands. But just be careful, because when Mars transits through the sixth house, we're prone to, if there is something in your health that is due to your lifestyle, and if something flares up, whether it's a cough, whether it's a high temperature, whether it's some boil or something of martial nature, which is inflammatory or sudden acute onset, while Mars is in the sixth house, this is due to your lifestyle. So Mars says you can make a change now. It will usually go just as quickly as it appeared. Some rashes can appear sometimes and things like that. Just be warned that it is a possibility with Mars in the sixth house. There's also possibility for more stress at work, for kind of more competitiveness at work, for more competitiveness with, workmates and so on. But also Mars can trigger you into the direction of taking care of your health. So developing some health routine, because you get angry and you get like, I'm fed up of having that pain in my waist or in my lower back, or I'm fed up with having this, something, and like I need to fix it. So I'm going to start working out and doing exercises for the back. I'm going to start walking more. I'm going to, this something activates you, gets you angry, so you can start taking care more of your health. And Mars in the sixth house often can trigger us to workout, exercise routine, and so on, that you become quite diligent about. Okay, so there you go. A lot of activities. This third house, sixth house, these are the houses of Mercury. So your mind, will be very busy this month. You'll be a lot of mercurial tasks, like I said, whether it's writing, speaking, using your brain, critical thinking, communications. So you might feel overstimulated in your mind, but at least it's not boring. So there you go, Capricorns. And let's see. Next sign is Aquarius. Yay. Oh, I forgot to download one for Aquarius. Ah, no, here. There it is. Aquarius, my sign, Aquarius rising. Woo, how was that stellium in our first house, guys? And with our planet Saturn was invisible most of February. I don't know, it was a bit tough, but especially on my health, I felt like that. But my brain was rewired. I feel like a brand new person now. And the stellium in Aquarius is starting to fall apart. So something that you got as ideas, as inspirations, as new vision for your life, something that you started new, might take a few years to complete it, might take a few years to see the results of it, or a few months, but now you're going to start consolidating it, starting to research the practical side of those new ideas, because planets are moving into your second house. How can I make it happen in a material, tangible way? You got the idea, the inspiration when they were in your first house. You got the new circumstances and developments, and now it's like, what practical steps can I take? Now the resources start appearing that you need, because an idea can manifest when we have the resources. So you're going to be focused on that. What are the resources? What do I need for it? They're going to start appearing. There's a lot of focus on the second house till March 20th, which means money. You can make more money because it's gentle, nice planets. For example, you can have some products, more sales, or you can even find an alternative source of income, or have a salary increase of some sort. But this is when, if you have your own business, sales should go up, for example, and you also, the Sunday, new ideas how to make money. You can buy something that is necessary for you, or that is very, that you appreciate, because Venus Day is something that you find very beautiful. You can find, now if you go shopping for clothes till March 20th, you might find the really nice, beautiful clothes. Very Venus in Pisces is exalted. So possessions, not only clothes, possessions that are very high quality, and that you really like, for example. You can also have a lot of interest in food, and you can really enjoy how you eat, um, and trying different types of food, but it's not going to feel like, oh, it's a diet or deprivation. It's just going to feel very enjoyable, like you discover new foods. And for example, if restaurants are opening, you can really indulge a bit more in such things, in the five senses. This is the second house. And you might enjoy cooking, for example, more. The second house is, and food generally, second house also rules, I think we mentioned everything. Values and worth. You might find yourself that you're discovering that your self-worth starts to grow more, and you start to appreciate yourself more. And that you start to, and because you value yourself more, I don't know how you find more value in yourself. You might read something or whatever, but because your value increases this month, you can also, because of that, you can attract more material opportunities, what comes to you as externally as well. And then from April 20th, the Sun and Venus move into your third house, so we'll become very active mentally, and much more into April when we go. There'll be a lot of activities, communication, information, flow of information, short trips. If you want to travel after March 20th and till April 20th, traveling short, maybe, 2-3 hours away with a plane or something, or 2-3 hours with a car away. Traveling for under a month, this is short trips, third house, or maybe for the weekend only. You'd start being active in such things. So if you want to go somewhere, plan for March, after March 20th, and it will go quite smoothly. Lovely Venus, you'd enjoy the sun there without stresses. And also learning, studying, knowledge. You're going to start really enjoying that, or you might have to write and speak more, or be very much more active on social media or in sales. In sales, you're going to start having a lot more, if you're trying to pitch something to others, or to connect, to find new clients. The Sun Venus after March 20th will allow you to do all those things, but you're gonna, you're gonna connect more, you're gonna be more social. It's not gonna be so lonely, it's definitely, things start picking up socially, and you're gonna develop new interests as well after March 20th. And the April is just very busy month for you. April will be, you feel more alive, more communicative, mentally stimulated. And if you want to learn something new, this March, I'm starting from March the 4th, a new course on the aspects. We're gonna cover aspects in a way that you've never seen them before. It's going to be 3 or 4 months. We already have around 200 people that are coming to the course. It's interactive. I talk with all of you. We look through charts, but we cover absolutely all combinations. Venus sextile, the ruler of the third. What does it mean? Venus square Pluto. What does it mean? How is that going to manifest in your life? And so on. Then for you, Aquarius, don't forget that this is the most important year of your life. It's continued to be because of the conjunction of both Saturn and Jupiter in your first house. Something big is brewing for you. Some of you already are feeling it. Some of you already know what it is. Others might have a bit longer to wait to see it. But this year, there is a new, powerful new beginning in your life. This year, you initiate a new vision for your life, a new direction for your life, and little by little, first in March, a big part, the resources and the practical side of it will start becoming clear. Then in April or the end of March. You're going to start connecting with the right people for that, and so on. It will unfold. So this is the most important thing for you. You're the boss this year. And when there is Saturn and Jupiter in your first house, don't forget that this year you have more free will than any other year of your life to decide the course of your life. Free will in the sense that when the first house is activated, you can determine where things go. You know, in the last few years, everything was in the 12th house. We as Aquarius did not have much free will, kind of, we were at the mercy of the ocean. So whatever we've put in action years ago or whatever external forces, now we can, so try and take initiatives as much as possible this year overall. But then Mars is in our 5th house. It moves from the 4th. Mars was in my 4th house the whole January and February, and it was just a war zone at home. The kids were just so wild and it wasn't easy emotionally, let's say. The home was not a peaceful place. But now Mars moves into our 5th house, where it's going to really support us as Aquarius for the whole 2 months, almost March and April. So what does it mean? Mars in our 5th house, March and April, you're gonna have more fun. You're gonna become more productive. More creative. It's almost like your creative juices will start flowing now, and it's like you're coming out of home and you're entering into the playground and having more fun. You might actively pursue enjoyments and fun and entertainments, whether it's going to to a party, or whether it's going to a restaurant, or whether it's going to the park, or whether it's going to have fun. And actually, I've seen people start working out and do sports when Mars transits their 5th house, because they enjoy it, not because of their health or because they have to lose weight, or because they start doing it because they find joy in it and they find more vitality and they feel happier. So fantastic time to really, if you want to start some kind of exercise routine, you're gonna love it. You're gonna feel more vital, especially you can do it with someone else, because Gemini is your 5th house. Do it in pairs with another, or a class of some sort, or you can do it online. Gemini, and 5th house is also creative ideas. So if you have your own business, this is your own business, but the creative ideas that you have for it, well, for example, I'm making a new website, or I'm gonna add a new module to the website, or I'm gonna offer a new product. Mars will start moving those creative ideas, and maybe you've had them before, those creative ideas, but now you're gonna start acting on them because Mars is there. So you're going to start moving forward and fast forward progress in matters about if you're creating something yourself. You might be creating a business, you might be creating some new service, but it's your own original idea, and you're going to start getting a move on there. Plus 5th house is to have more fun, and it's romance. You're going to go more actively to pursue romance. And you're gonna go more actively, if you're married, for example, like me, to pursue maybe more romantic experience, to have more fun with your partner, or more sex as well. 5th house is sexual house. 5th house is also your children, so they can be a bit unruly, wild, but fun. And they can be, of course, Mars, in worst case scenario, some accident with your child, or they're just like more rebellious, or you're more active with your children, you're involved more with them, and so on. Okay, but definitely when Mars is in a sign, air sign, and this is a Dharma house, house of happiness, house of joy, house of being in the flow, the actions that we undertake, it will just flow. It will just, doors will open. We're not going to have to bang our head so much. Like while Mars was in Taurus, was so tough for me because it was squaring all the planets in Aquarius, and I developed an abscess. It was like that. I still have it. It's squared, and it was like more stressful here. Whatever we'll try and do when Mars was in this 4th house, square our planets, was with effort. But when Mars goes to Gemini, it's going to start trining the planets in Aquarius, Saturn and Jupiter, and our Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. So things will start like whatever you try, doors will open like that. It will be smooth. Yes, yes, yes. We have it March and April there. And yeah, did I pitch you my course, Aquarius? Probably I did. I've done it so many times already. Yeah, studying, I did it. Yeah. Okay. So finally, Pisces. I have not forgotten you, Pisces. Pisces, wow, you're getting the big activation here. Sun, Venus, Moon, sorry, Venus, Mercury, Neptune are going to be in your sign. Actually, in February, big part of February, most of the planets were in your 12th house. You probably felt like a dead fish, drained and exhausted, or maybe you were swimming, maybe you were hiding under the duvets, or maybe you were kind of things were a bit out of your control because 12th house is house where we don't have much control, where we complete things and things. But now you're starting to come into your power. This is the most important month for you, Pisces, because it determines the program for the next 12 months for you. So you're going to see inspirations of new ideas, especially around March 13th, when there is a new moon in Pisces. But the whole month till the 20th of March, there is inspirations, there is energy coming to you. You can initiate new beginnings. I would advise you from the 14th of March onwards after the new moon. But you're downloading the program now and inspirations are coming. This will be the month that you feel most alive this year, I suppose. Just like February was the month you probably felt most dead or most like unmotivated with all those planets in the 12th house, so maybe very active in your subconscious, but not in the not in the material world. But now you're coming out and you're letting your light shine. And of course, you might not immediately have total clarity about where you're going, because still you're going to have Saturn and Jupiter the whole year in your 12th house. This is kind of like a year in which things are a little bit in the air. You're not quite, you're seeing something is finishing, it's completing, but you're not exactly sure where you're going ahead. And the plan might not become clear till next year in March, when, or at least till Saturn and Jupiter exit, or Jupiter exits your 12th house, And now it's a little bit, you're a little bit in suspension, flowing out in space a little bit. And it's like, where am I going? I don't know. It's okay. You're allowed to feel like that. You're allowed to actually, this is how I was so confused when planets were in my 12th house for a couple of years. And I even knew what I wanted, but I couldn't make it happen. So don't beat yourself up. But now, if you ever have this year a lot of power to change things, to shift them around, this is in March, because your first house is activated. The free will and your own decisions and actions can have a much stronger ability to influence the outcome of events around. But don't forget that overall, you're still in the phase of completing things, and things are, kind of not totally huge new big things. You're still researching this year, you're still seeing, planning and visualizing, and then the new things are really going to start coming from next year for you. But now on a smaller scale, you can start new things, especially Pisces rising, Pisces sun. You're going to feel this flow of energy into your Venus in your sign till March 20th. You're going to feel more attractive. You're gonna and Mercury, silver tongued, you can get a lot of things done this month, and you can feel like the star of the show, so to speak. And your planet Jupiter is visible already, so that's good. Plus Jupiter and Saturn in your 12th house. I think that Pisces might relocate this year, or foreign places for some of you. It might be a bit difficult because Saturn is involved, but there is a possibility there. Okay, but just for March, very good March for Venusian activities, pleasure, because Venus is in your sign, making yourself more beautiful, even for money, for enjoyments of the senses, good food and stuff like that, entertainment, for buying things that you consider valuable, even for money investment. And social activities, the two social planets, Mercury and Venus, are in your sign. You'll be very enjoyable in social activities, like a joy to be around, so to speak. Pleasant, agreeable, plus very interesting to talk to. Mercury there as well. And yeah, and this is where your life force is the strongest this month. At the same time, let's see where Mars goes, because Mars is changing signs and it's going into your fourth house, Pisces. So the whole March and April, there is a big focus on making changes with your home, making changes with place of living. For example, you might want to move the furniture around, you might want to build a fence, you might want to change something around or sell or buy property, and you'll be very driven into that. You'll be very initiative into that. Plus you have the North Node there. Often people relocate and move in different places. I know a few Pisces that already are doing that. They're relocating, they're moving. So this is very active those 2 months. Or buying property, building property, selling property, all of those things. But it can be a little bit, you have to be careful with Mars in the fourth. There can be kind of a competitiveness with the family, or more fights at home, or more arguments. These things also come to the surface. But I think Mars is mostly doing good aspects, trines here. Actually, it does not do the squares to those planets that are in Pisces. So Mars only makes good aspects from a fourth house to Saturn and Jupiter. So I think it's a lot more positive than negative if you're doing changes at home, with family interactions, family connect, do together. And fourth house is also, and with the trines to the 12th house, I can see that there can be some catharsis emotionally, like almost like a breakthrough of some family emotional pain that is buried. And Mars is like a drill. It drills there, it breaks through, makes a hole, and releases pressure there, releases the pressure. And, it's kind of like emotional catharsis of sorts. Yes, Mars in the fourth house can make you feel emotionally more restless, but it will make you very active at home and getting things done at home and with family and so on. So there you go. These are the 12 signs. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's see a few comments. Yeah, if the video will be processed very soon and you can watch it live on YouTube. Thank you so much. I hope for April to be able to make you the full video for each of the 12 signs, so you don't have to scroll and jump around signs. If anyone can make me timestamps, I'll be so grateful, because like I had 2 hours of free time today and I just jumped to do this video. Thank you so much. Busy mom with a swollen face. But I love you all. Thank you, Kebra. I'm feeling better. And I'm just feeling so happy that April and March will be much easier. April, we needed that. I'm ready to cry. it's and the whole year ahead, there's much lighter energies, except the Saturn Uranus square that we've talked about, but it's not that heavy Capricorn, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction that we're still under the influence of, which felt very oppressive. So yeah, and do join my course. I don't know if I'll do another for a couple of years after that. These courses are, I can say, I've never seen someone give so much hours of courses for this amount of money, 50, 60 hours. And by the end of it, I think you'll know astrology like me. Thank you. I love you, everyone. Oh, such great messages. Hey, from El Salvador. Thank you. Oh, it's so good to be live and interact with you guys. I'm always, that now that Saturn and Jupiter and everything entered my first house, I'm not afraid to go live. For 2-3 years, everything was in my 12th house, Saturn, Jupiter. I was dreading it. 12th house is too high. And I was like, no, I can't, no. And now I just want to interact and talk with you and meet you in real life. And thank you so much. Have a great March. It will be nicer, easier, lighter, mutable, and the whole year ahead. I love you all.